Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for opening this video. I'm Claudia, real estate agent in Jamaica. If you want to sell, or buy, or build real estate, hit the subscribe button and remember the notification bell. Welcome everybody. Hi, I'm Claudia. Thank you so much for opening this video. Those of you who have been following me know that I've been talking about money, finance, and I love to talk about real estate. I'm a real estate agent in Jamaica. And you also know that I've been talking about assets and liabilities. Well, I learned about assets and liabilities, like most of you, in either high school or university, where we were taught that an asset is usually what they use on the balance sheet, right? So asset and liability is on the balance sheet. And we learned that an asset is what a company have that will be of some, give them some resources in the future or give them some money in the future. So you usually put so a company would have assets if they have land that they could sell in the future, or they have a building where they collect rental income would be an asset, or if they have some goods, right, that they are going to be selling, then you know those are assets as well. And we also learned about liabilities. So liabilities would be what the company, who owes the company, that would be liabilities. So who owes the company, that's a liability. Now, I also picked up a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad in 2002. That book brought home asset and liability again to me. So the book was written by Robert Kiyosaki. Thank you, Mr. Kiyosaki, for writing that book. And the book says, he says in the book, assets are what put money in your pocket. Liabilities are what take money out of your pocket. I've also put a link in the description below because I am an Amazon affiliate, right? So you know that I will get some funds when you buy the book. Rich Dad's Poor Dad's definition of assets and liabilities, very simple. If you follow that, his principle about assets and liabilities, then you will get ahead in life. I can tell you that. I'm here to prove it. Now, one of the first assets that you have, though, apart from the fact that assets are things that put money in your pocket, one of the first assets that you do have is you, is yourself. So I'm an asset to me, or I can be a liability to myself. Yes, you yourself, based on your training, your education, your skills that you may develop, and all of these will allow you to get a job. All right. So remember, assets are things that put money in your pocket, and liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket. So if we were to say assets are on the positive side and liabilities on the negative side, doesn't it stand to reason that you would need to have more positives in your life than negatives in your life? I would think so. So definitely you yourself can be an asset, your training, your job, your skills, and then in turn, you are going to get some cash. And yes, cash is one of the assets. So I'm going to talk about 4 assets. Cash is one of them, and cash is a major asset. Now, all of you out there listening to me who have jobs, you have some skill that you trade and you collect money, or at the end of the month you do a work and you get paid, or you work for an employer and he pays you a monthly salary, which you collect in cash. Remember, you're not collecting it in leaves and dirt and those things. You're collecting cash, which is a major asset. But what do you do with the cash that you collect? You now go and you convert the live cash, the real asset cash, to a liability. Yes, you go and you buy shoes, you buy clothes that you can't have no resale value. Because once I put on this, who's gonna buy it back? You buy jewelry, who's gonna buy this back? Right? You also take out student loans, you have credit cards, you have, some of you take vacation on loans, right? You're driving cars, that you're paying on, you're paying insurance, you're paying gas, a loan on a car. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have taken this cash, which is the asset, and you have converted it to a liability. And then you say you're not getting ahead. Oh, Ms. Davis, I am not succeeding at all. I have no money. Yet you have collected the cash. You have converted it to a liability. The other asset you can have is rental property. Now, if you collect cash every month, which is an asset, suppose you were to convert some of that cash into a rental income, right? So you could probably buy a car, rent it out, just make sure that the money that you're getting from the rental is more than the expenditure on the car. Similar to a piece of real estate. Just make sure that the income rental is more than the expenditure on the car, right? Remember, we're talking about assets and liabilities. So a house or a car can also be a liability if it is taking money out of your pocket. It is now a liability. But if that house or car is now putting money in your pocket and it is putting more money in than it is taking out, then you would have been in the positive, right? Robert Kiyosaki calls it cash flow. So you would have had positive cash flow. So ladies and gentlemen, you would have had an asset. Another asset that you can buy is stocks. Stocks pay dividends. So if you pick the right stock, you can now get dividends. So money will come into your pocket. So does it suit you to buy stocks that do not pay dividends? Not so sure about that. But because you can also buy the stock and resell it, right? So technically you'd have an asset, but you would have to sell that stock for a higher value than what you bought the stock for. So that's where it gets tricky. You can also buy bonds as well, which usually the government will float bonds. Countries usually float bonds, right? So you can buy bonds as well, and you would have an asset. Now, there are other assets like gold and other things, but the basics, ladies and gentlemen, cash is an asset, which you get. Some of you get cash every day, every month. Rental property, that's an asset. Stocks, we collect dividends, and bonds. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have more assets on the positive side and less liabilities on the negative side, then you will get ahead. So any one of you out there listening to me, do the homework. You're going to write down all the assets that you have, all the things that put money in your pocket. And you're going to write down all the liabilities that you have. Yes, the credit cards, all of those things, your student loans, you buy jewelry, you buy some cars that take your money from you, even your house that you're living in now might be a liability because it's not bringing you any money, right? It's taking money out of your pocket every month. So therefore, you're going to do that exercise. And if it is that your liability column is greater than your asset column, you might want to rethink that. That should be one of your New Year's resolutions, all right? To make sure that you have more assets than liabilities. So let us say that you do collect cash every month, and I am in Jamaica, so I'm talking Jamaican dollars. Let us say you collect 100,000 every month. The government of Jamaica will probably take anywhere from 10 to maybe 15% because you would have been below the threshold for income tax. So they would have only taken education tax, national insurance, and your national housing trust. So let us say the government takes 10% for ease of calculation. You're now left with 90%. So you're left with 90,000 cash, which is an asset, remember, in your hands. Now, what do you do with that asset? Many of you are converting your entire 90,000 into liabilities. So what happens? So every month you work 100,000. Government takes 10% and 90% goes into liabilities. Now, remember, assets are things that put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. So what does that mean? The more liabilities you buy is the more you will have to work to pay for the liabilities. Let us pretend that you are a horse and every baggage that goes onto your back is a liability. Would you want to be that horse running across the track with so much liability and so much baggage on your back? No, would you? Or would you want to be an asset? Would you want to have assets like other horses that would carry some of those liabilities or carry all? That way, you get to run across the track with nothing on your back. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would say if the government of Jamaica is taking 10%, or any government for that matter, taking 20%, 30%, I would say then the rest, you should at least anywhere from 30 to 50%, you should use it to buy assets. Now, if you're in your 20s and 30s, I would say 50% of your income now should be going towards assets. That way, when you get to my age, you won't have to work so hard, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, and I also want to tell you, it doesn't matter how much you're earning. So even if you're earning 500,000 per month, you would still use 50% minimum of your income to buy assets. All right? I would say try to get up to 50%, because if you only try to use 10% for asset generation, you're going to find that you're not going to get ahead very fast. So in your 20s and 30s, you have to bite that bullet really early and use 50% of your income to buy assets, pay the government their taxes, and then you can buy liabilities with the rest of the money. Right? Those shoes that you love to buy and all these things. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying with me and for watching the video. And I look forward to seeing you in my other videos. Also, remember that we discuss these things in our Zoom sessions on Sunday at 6. That's money, finance, and real estate. So you can join us and you will learn so much more. Thank you so much. Remember, buy real estate and be great to yourself.